Okay, greatstockpicks.com. Highlights from our live trading chat room on Friday, July 13th. Friday the 13th. Was not an unlucky day for us. Did pretty well today. I'm going to start with, I'm trying to at least pick one trade from each day and kind of break it down with notes like I've done here. I absolutely don't have time to do it for every trade from the day, but I try to use these videos to at least explain my thinking, okay? I don't have the daily chart up here on Pay, P-A-Y, Verifone, but I have 2 days worth, 5-minute candles plus the beginning of this morning, okay? So you can see the gap up here, huge volume a couple days ago, okay? Held up well. Yesterday it was right out of the gate but reversed and then just straight sideways all day. We call that planking. Just did nothing. But today, strength again. You had the catalyst of a possible break of yesterday's high to the left, okay? So the early strength caught my attention. And the fact, if you look at what it did yesterday, it just reversed the entire leg there. The market was strong, so after this pullback to the 8-period moving average, it put in this tight little base. Turned on the projector, showed it to everybody, and made a call on Pay. If it breaks this base, 35.74 will be our entry. Worst case stop below this base, a dime below. So certainly a nice setup. Love the recent history from the past couple days. Love the strength. See the volume on all these pops. Pay was set up, and also, you can't see it here, I don't have the daily chart up, but I'll show it in a minute. Pay had been decimated on the daily chart up until this gap, which means you might have some shorts caught. Okay, so over this base is the entry, 35.74, and now zoomed out, you can see there's the entry I just showed you. I'm panned way out and see what it did today. All the way to 36.78, over $1 move on a dime risk, and when it looked like this, I suggested to anybody that missed the breakout that there's another possible entry. A very clean stair-step looking pullback on 5-minute candles to the 8-period moving average, retesting the breakout of the high of the day. That happens a lot. And so that retest is another way in. Or an add, if you took it down here, this is a place to add some more. And as I teach, always sell. Whenever you get shaped like this in your favor, always sell. So Pay was a very, very nice one. Very low risk as far as trigger and stop. And that one made my day. I've got some others to talk about. Let's bring over a chart that I can move now without notes on it. HOG. HOG was interesting to me on the daily chart because it had a couple big days down into the 200-day moving average. And then this morning, sold off initially, did a nice reversal. I would love to have caught it down here, but I got to be honest, I wasn't really watching it. So when it came back up near, here's the early high of the day, okay? When it came back up near the high of the day and put this little kind of flag in, I went ahead and called it over this flag. So the entry on HOG, 43.77, again, pretty tight stop, 15 cents below. And it triggered, kind of went sideways for a little bit and then got going for us. So HOG, Harley, 43.77 entry, 15 cents risk, didn't come close to stopping out. I went to 44.25 at its high. So nothing really to brag about, but a pretty low risk entry and worked out pretty well. Let's see what else. GNOM, and I don't usually call these lower price stocks, but one of our members kind of mentioned it to me, or mentioned it to the chat room, and I saw it, and I remembered GNOM, G-N-O-M, doing this, okay? Crazy move from 2 to, if you count the gap up the next day, to 2 to 330 something. That's a huge percentage move, and then sold off all day yesterday. But what it did today was trade in a pretty narrow range. Let's get a drawing tool going here. So here's the early, that's not what I wanted. Let's try that again. Here's the early high of day right there, $2.51, and did a little cup and handle thing and came up and retested it but didn't take it out. So when it looked like this, I loved this little base here, and the high of day is still to the left. So I went ahead and called it at 252, worst case 242, but as our chat room members know, I probably wouldn't give a $2 stock a dime against me. I probably would have killed it after a couple pennies. But anyway, there's the trigger, 252. 10 minutes later, it's at 272, almost a 20% move. I didn't do the math. Less than 20%, but not too bad. I was selling most right here, to be honest with you, because I don't look for a 50-cent move on a $2 stock, okay? Nice percentage gain there. Ended up going up. That was about it. So, you know, not much to brag about, but you know what? I made pretty good money on that because there was plenty of volume at the time. You can see almost 1 million shares in 10 minutes, and pretty easy trade. And the lesson there is just if you have a stock that's done something crazy lately, and it doesn't meet my average volume parameters, but the fact that it traded 20 million in 2 sessions, to me meant it's probably going to be liquid enough to take this trade. And when you get a stock that makes a move like this, starting to light up the new highs ticker, oftentimes they'll chase it a little bit, and we'll be happy to sell to them. So the trick is not to chase those, but to be on it right there at the high of day break, and always have your stop in mind and where you're going to kill it. And now the worst part of this video, the part I hate, I got to talk about a couple mistakes I made today. Well, let me start with MCP. MCP, let's go to 5-minute candles. This was a flat trade for me, so I didn't lose in it, but MCP did this crazy move yesterday, million shares in 5 minutes. Started off kind of strong today, pulled back, and then when it put in, I'll tell you, it looked exactly like this when I called it. I thought over this little base, you might take out the high of the day. If MCP lights up the high of the day, they'll pile in just like on GNOM. But what I failed to think about, and I'm usually better than this, was that this was occurring right at really the beginning of the lunchtime slowdown. And so I know better than that. So I called it, I think, see if I can find the exact price. I think I called this at 1982. Okay, I found the exact wording of my alert. MCP possible, failed fade or RBI. If you remember here, you know what those mean, but using 10s below its early high of the day. So that was the idea explained. Our members know what that means. But anyway, 1982 trigger, here's exactly what I wrote. It's kind of funny. 1982 trigger, 1968 stop. Okay, then I wrote in all caps, trade small because it's lunch and because it's MCP. So I mean, I definitely gave a warning on this one. And it meandered around and just couldn't get going. And I killed it really right back here at 1980. Basically took a flat in it. And just did nothing the rest of the day. But the idea still makes sense. If MCP, even on Monday, trades in a narrow range and then lights up the new highs ticker, you could probably still get a trade out of it. But anyway, I took a flat in that one. And then the two that I called this morning that didn't work were TPX. And I'll explain the reason. TPX, huge volume out of the gate here. Then pulls back, okay? I think I had it on 2-minute candles. All right, so, let's go to daily first. On the daily, we all know how beaten up TPX is. So the fact that out of the gate it had this kind of strength, it deserved to be on anybody and everybody's watch list. Now, if you trade it all, spreads are already a little bit crazy in this one. But if you trade in the first 15 or 20 minutes, spreads are outrageous anymore. It feels like the market's changed a bit because I don't really recall stocks being as spready and whippy in the first 15 minutes as they are now. You could always write me and let me know if I'm wrong about that, but it sure feels that way. But anyway, I called this, see if I can figure it. I called this one TPX almost a half hour in, so I still had some patience. Okay, it looked like this. Huge pop, came back down. I still knew this had potential to rip. And basically, sellers came in here. If these sellers fail, I wanted in. I called it a 25.05. I figured over this candle would be another catalyst. Let me get my cursor up here. Okay, I figured 25.05, a break of this high, which is the recent high since the sell-off or pullback, would get longs jumping in again, shorts covering, however you want to word it. So I called it a 25.05. Over this candle would be 25.10. I thought that would give us some more upside. There's the 25.05 trigger, and it quickly went through that high and to 25.17. I didn't get any off the table because it was so whippy. And my stop was below the 8-period moving average, 24.89. So I lost 11.5, somewhere around 16 cents, and then only to have it turn and go. Didn't really go that quickly. Came back and retested that area again and grinded higher all day. One of our all-stars, B-Turk, grabbed this thing on the first pullback. What I teach is to use 2-minute candles if you're an aggressive trader on something like this that's coming back down, and grab it around the 2.8, which is the 2-minute candle, 8-period moving average. So I don't know where B-Turk got filled, but somewhere down in here. He took it way down in here and ended up making $1 something on the last sell somewhere late in the day, like $1.09. So he handled that much better than I did. And then my other blunder this morning was APKT. Again, another one that's been decimated on the daily and then finally basing, and then today gaps up. So it was interesting. I didn't chase it, but I called it, and here's where I screwed up. Again, I almost never take a trade in the first 30 minutes. I called APKT 19 minutes in. 1640, 1627. So 13 cents risk, and you can see what happened. basically, I think I was using 2-minute candles, but you can see it on 5s as well. Up over this candle, 1640, stop at 1627, triggered, and right back down. And then some other of our more astute members took it on a 15-minute candle setup down here. In other words, they had more patience, right? Let the morning unfold, and then took it over this 15-minute candle. So that just, I mean, it's a great trading lesson, and even a great reminder for me. If I always do better, and I can usually find an entry, even if there's a stock I love, and even if my thesis is correct, I can usually find a better, safer entry letting it unfold for the first 30 minutes. You might miss some of the move, but if you want to trade safe. And so I got away from safe trading there by trying to catch these in the first 30 minutes. But people that took it over this candle was like 1594, and it got up to whatever this was, 1650. So they did much better by being patient, and there's a pretty good lesson there. And I think I've covered everything from the day. Again, R. Brown had some great calls today. That might be it. Hope everybody has a great weekend. Chat's been super fun lately, so looking forward to Monday, and we'll see you guys then.